There's only one thing that's running through my soul, and that is
Happy hump day. Happy pre-NFL draft day. We have a hot show tonight, and we kind of gave you all an introduction to it last week. But before we get started, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any content. I'm looking off to my right because, you know, we always tell you to hit up the live chat if you have any questions. We may do a Q&A towards the end, depending on where we are with time. But we do have a special guest here tonight, so we'll see how we're looking in terms of time. But this is the Crimson Dynasty. My name is C'Chi. I'm one of the hosts here. Well, I am the host here, but we do have some awesome co-hosts. And this is one of the shows here on the Bama Standard Network. So I know some of y'all are familiar with us, but for those who are not, we are one of the hot shows here, and we love to have a lot of engagement with the live chat. So before we get started, though, I do want to introduce one of our co-hosts, Dan James IV, and then also JB, and they are part of other shows here on the network, so they'll mention those towards the end. But I want to give a shout out really quickly to one of our sponsors, Stone Company. We always tell you that if you're looking for a beautiful natural stone to add in or around your home, don't settle for subpar materials. Visit Stone Company, check out the natural stones that they have, and be sure to contact them directly if you have any questions. They're located in Oneonta, Alabama, and they're one of the oldest, most trusted sources in the state. So contact them today, and we'll have their website listed in the banner shortly, and use promo code the Bama Standard to receive 10% off of your first order. I want to go ahead and get started and introduce our special guest. He's been here before, though, and we had a lot of people asking to have him back on. But if you're watching us right now on X, be sure to visit our YouTube and be sure to subscribe. Just search the Bama Standard Network and you'll find us there. So I want to go ahead and introduce our special guest. I don't want to talk too long about just, whatever, but shout out to Spencer Charles III, the one and only. You were here last year. You gave us some dimes. You dropped a lot of, I know we had a lot of questions, but you were very thorough. And I think that that's what a lot of the viewers appreciated most. You know what I mean? Like, you were honest. You told everyone how you felt from your perspective, because a lot of times we see things from the outside looking in, but you're right there. So with the draft starting tomorrow, I just want to first welcome you here and thank you for being so willing to come again. And just ask, is there anything in specific that you want to mention regarding your agency before we jump right in with our questions?
No. Well, first off, thank you for having me back. And, my goal, mission in life is to empower and educate. If we all know the same information, we can be informed and work together. I'm with Agency One, based in Fort Lauderdale, South Florida. We got about 30 guys in the NFL. Jaden Daniels is our biggest client. Obviously, his mom has kind of come to the form and took the lead, but I'm one of the agents on staff with Jaden Daniels and Denzel Perriman, Levante Davis, and a couple other guys we have on staff. But just a hardworking guy who got out the mud and love to talk ball.
Yeah, we do too, man. I know we're a little bit more biased here for football, and y'all know I'll go on my rants, but I'm not planning to do that tonight. But I'll actually kick it off to Dan. Like I mentioned, he's one of our co-hosts here, but I'm going to start with you, Dan. Any questions from your end that you wanted to ask Spence?
Yes, definitely. I know you came on and you talked about it last year, and it was very interesting to me, and I thought it was very, very educational to the casual football fan. Could you break down the three parts of an NFL contract?
Sure. And I do want to start with the intro. So tomorrow the NFL draft kicks off. It's an exciting time for a lot of guys, but it's a nerve-wracking time for a lot of guys. Your top five guys, Cam Ward, those guys know where they're going. But a lot of the guys, first round, second round, don't know where they're going to get drafted at, where their new team, new coach, new home. So there's a lot of anxiety with families. So it's a big night on both sides, just depending on what side of the fence you are. But as far as tomorrow going into the draft, most guys before NIL play said they want to get to the league. They want to get to the league so they can get to the bag, as we say now. Now, the bag from an NFL contract standpoint, there's three components of an NFL contract. So when these guys get drafted and you can do their deal, they have their number one is a base salary, right? Their base salary is what they get, like a paycheck us regular folks get, working a 9 to 5. So in the NFL, there's 32 weeks. They take this year, the base salary for pretty much all rookies is $840,000. So if you take $840,000 divided by 32, that's going to be their base salary. That base salary is collectively bargained. And that's, say that word collectively bargain when we get to the NIL portion. So a player can't do like they do right now in college and say, I want more money, deserve more money. Your base salary based on what's agreed upon between the players union and the actual agents and coaches and team is $840,000. That's the first part of the contract. The second part is the most important, is the signing bonus. The signing bonus is, you hear in the NFL, they say something called guaranteed money.
Mhm.
That's the only money you're guaranteed to get is when you get drafted tomorrow or day 2 or on Saturday is your signing bonus. If I back up, that $840,000 base salary is not guaranteed. If you get hurt in week 5 and they decide to cut you, you're not guaranteed to the $840K. Now you can go file some grievances, excuse me, and all this stuff, but you're not guaranteed the $840K. If you get in trouble, ride a motorcycle, they cut. You're not guaranteed the $840. What you are guaranteed to is the second part of kind of the compensation is your signing bonus. And let me add some perspective. So tomorrow, it's projected that Cam Ward out of the University of Miami quarterback is going to be the first-round pick, very first pick. He's guaranteed to get it slotted, collectively bargained, $42 million guaranteed. And then the next, let's just say hypothetically, Shedeur Sanders is the second pick. It goes to $41 million, and it cascades down to 40, so on and so forth, to pick 32. That here again, that signing bonus, the second portion of the contract, is important because that's the only money you're guaranteed to get. So as quick as us agents can broker a deal with the GM of the team, whether that's maybe a week or 2 after the draft or if it goes into the summer, that $42 million goes directly into Cam Ward's bank account. Now, I do want to say it's taxed at 30%, legal fees and all that stuff, but that's the only money he's ever guaranteed. And then the last piece, just to be short, is incentives, incentive bonuses. If you score X amount of touchdowns or have picks. So just to recap, there are 3 parts of the NFL contract. There's your base salary for this year for all rookies, $840,000. The signing bonus is the only money guaranteed you'll ever make. That's yours the minute you sign your contract. And then performance incentives, that kind of covers your compensation and what's negotiated from a contract perspective.
That's good. That's good. Y'all drop y'all's comments in the chat. I mean, like I said, when you were here last year, Spence, I mean, it was just, it's information that a lot of people don't know unless they're on the inside. You think about Jaden Daniels' mom and, just her involvement and what she knows now. But I'm going to kick it off to JB. What did you have for Spence?
All right, Spence. Once the deals are done, my question is, do you think it's more difficult to negotiate NFL contracts or these NIL deals for the players?
NIL, we kind of chatted a little bit, prior to us kicking off the show, is now it's a longer recruiting cycle. Kids, Najee Harris in high school, Tua Tagovailoa when they're in high school.
Yeah.
Nowadays, you have to start negotiating with them now, bringing in NIL deals or compensation. And the thing about it is with college kids, there's not like a cap. There's not a agreed upon market. I brought this whole thing right here for a reason. I can't open this because I will get in trouble in the NFL, but if you can see this, I've used this. This says this is the NFL collective bargaining kind of guidelines and parameters on contracts compensation. In high school or in college, there's no collective bargaining agreement. What I mean by that is the players and the schools, they don't have a binding agreement. So it's the Wild Wild West. There is no cap. It can be high, it could be low, and players could ask for more than what they're worth. And then it's up to you as an agent, up to you as a collective, if you're going to overbid, underbid, and then there's no guarantee that athlete's going to stay with you throughout their high school and college career. So it's way harder. And then you're dealing with high school and college, no pun intended. You're dealing with uncles, dads, moms who may have not went to school and educated themselves financially. They don't understand the sports business, market value, and then you're dealing with emotion. So it's a lot harder. The NFL is collectively bargaining is the key word. It's structured. If you don't like your coach's attitude, you feel like you got no playing time, so what? Go sit on the bench. You're stuck in your contract.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. And we're going to dive deeper into that because we kind of see how it's already playing out in the college football world in terms of in terms of the NIL. But one thing that I wanted to ask about, and I know I touched on this last year, and I'm going to touch on it again because I'm really into the financial side of things, and that's one of the things that my company offers more so from a wealth strategy perspective. And so you start talking about generational wealth, legacy, things of that sort. One thing that I always think about is, when you're negotiating these contracts, especially considering the economy that we're in right now, you hear words about recession, even Great Depression. I mean, so many things that's being thrown out there, and we see what's happening in the market. One thing that I think about all the time is just purchasing power and like the value of the dollar decreasing every single year. The IRS, they'll say one thing, but we know that it's, typically another number or two. And so I wanted to know, when it comes to negotiating these contracts, do agents typically take into consideration inflation and how that basically devalues the dollar every single year? Because it sounds like from the way you broke down contracts, so you have your actual contract as far as your salary, quote unquote, your bonus, incentives, all of that. Do you all, I guess, factor in inflation anywhere in that?
I would say market value, but I actually crunched some numbers. No one anticipating this question. So I believe inflation's around 5 or 6%.
It's usually like around 5 to 6. Yeah.
So on the base salary, it's a 6 to 7% merit increase each year. So to give you an example, last year the base salary for all rookies drafted in the 2024 class in the NFL was around $795,000. This year is bumped up to $840,000 in 2025, and in the 2026 draft it'll be $885,000. So year over year, you're looking at about a 6 to 7% increase on the base salary for rookies. Now, I would say, having a background in finance myself, you're on a trajectory of marginally being above inflation, right? To kind of answer that question. But number two, where there's leverage to negotiate here, again, that base salary, collectively bargain. What you can do is, this doesn't necessarily relate to inflation, you can negotiate more guaranteed dollars on the base salary. Because going back to the base salary, if the team feels like, hey, you're not cutting it and they want to cut you in week 8, they don't have to pay the remaining 9-10 games, right? But as an agent, if I negotiate, okay, even if you cut my guy, you still have to pay him the remainder or X percentage of games, even if you cut him. So you want to negotiate more guaranteed dollars on the base contract is what you can do. Also, the signing bonuses are slotted, so there's not a lot of wiggle room there. Going back to the word collectively bargain, the players and the union, the teams negotiate that. But with the performance incentives, you can negotiate as well. If you feel like, hey, my quarterback is, a hot shot guy, he's pretty healthy. How about, if he throws for 4,000 yards and he makes the Pro Bowl in his first year, there's a $500,000 incentive. For some of the bigger guys, this will shock everybody knows about the larger defensive linemen at Florida getting ready for the draft. They have weigh-in clauses. So I think the guy at Florida weighs a skinny 340 pounds, maybe 360, JB. If I negotiate a weight clause, says when he shows up for training camp at 320, he may have a $250,000, kicker. So you can negotiate like incentives. You can negotiate more guaranteed dollars. The key variables are the base salary and signing bonuses are collectively bargained. There's no wiggle room. And then with inflation, the NFL stays a couple percentages above inflation on a year-to-year basis.
I think they need to increase that margin for sure, because it's assuming that they know what to do with the money as far as investing, right, and hoping that they have the right people around them. But I'm not gonna go off on a tangent there. I'm gonna kick it, and thank you for the answer because that was really good. I'm gonna kick it back to Dan. Dan, what else did you have from your side?
Yes. What's the craziest, most memorable contract negotiation that you've ever gone through?
I'm going to change the name and I'm going to change the teams.
Okay.
Just going to have fiduciary responsibilities. But I had a client, we thought he would go a lot higher towards the top 2-3 rounds. He played at a school in the ACC, and he ended up not testing as well at the combine. So the hardest thing you can do is sit down with a client and say, here's what the teams are saying. And you do this like a couple days up until the draft week before. You talk to the family, everybody's involved. Here's where you're at. Here's what we're hearing. Who's interested. Because you didn't perform as well and I don't want to call out the event he didn't perform as well to, try to protect his privacy, your stock is down. So here's where you're projecting to go. So I'm gonna give some real insight into the agent business. A client look at you and say, well, why the bleep, did I sign with you if you're telling me you can't get me any higher? But the thing about it is your tape is your tape. Your performance at the combine is your performance. Your off the field character, if you have those issues, all those variables go into kind of like this data set and evaluates you. So there's no magic wand I can just wave to say I'm the greatest sports agent or of all time to increase your value. So what made it crazy was just happening to have a genuine, authentic, sensitive, compassionate conversation with him and the family, just letting him know going into the draft, we see you going somewhere between rounds 3 and 5. So draft day comes night 1, and he kind of had an expectation that, hey, you guys told me I'm probably not going on Thursday night. He didn't go Thursday night. Next day, by the way, our HC, we rented a nice Airbnb, a mansion. So we're burning money. So he didn't go on day 1. So we had to get an Airbnb, caterer, day 2. And one thing I want to say about agents, usually you don't sit with your client on draft day if you don't know they're going to go high, because everybody's going to be staring at you in the room like, why ain't your phone ringing? What's going on? Why you ain't making calls? I've been there. It's very awkward. So night 2 comes, which is rounds 2 and 3. And, there was some anticipation because the talent on tape before the combine and all this merited to at least go like in the second round. Didn't go night 2. So here again, we got to do the Airbnb, caterer, family got to come. The school, actually, the university sent their media team out. And, with respect and privacy, the client pretty much lost it, had kind of a emotional breakdown, left. Mom had to calm him down. I had the pastor talking to me like, what's going on? I had family talking to me like, what's going on? And it's a very tough, precarious situation to be in. But, here again, just trying to be compassionate, kind of conveying the information I had. And obviously, we were on the phones talking to teams, vetting out interest, because as the draft evolves, people slide up and down boards, or a guy you thought was going to be here is not going to be here. We have a different need. Somebody took our guy. So obviously we were being active, but what made it crazy was, the player and family came in pretty much tears, like, hey, my life's over. I'm not getting drafted. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. I ain't got no plan B. And then as soon as he said it, my phone rang and I said, hold on. And I got a call and said, this is Chuck Smith with the San Francisco 49ers. Can we speak to your client? We're about to draft him. And the next thing you know, he fell on his knees crying, and I'm the best agent of all time. So it was just this roller coaster of emotions for 3 days. It was very awkward for me, but at the same time, it was a relief because I didn't sweat it out, probably like 2 shirts that night. So
Yeah, and hey, and I guess that's a sentiment of don't lose hope. You know what I mean? Like, don't lose hope, because it could
tough,
be.
so it's tough. That's the thing. I know. Even I'm a fan too. As we watch these guys, a lot of these guys put their whole life in to get to this point of life and create generational wealth and retire mama. And then one thing I do want to touch on the backup is, if you're a second round draft pick, you're gonna get from about 20 to $10 million guaranteed in signing bonus, right? So if you thought that's where you're gonna go and you end up going like in the 5th round, you're talking maybe $1 million to $3 million, taxed to like 40%. So how are you gonna retire mama now and all these dreams you had? So there's immense pressure on these guys, if they don't go where they would like to go. Also, they can't control it, but there's immense pressure for the non-top guys, probably outside the top 10, because there's a lot of money, family to support, and so on and so forth.
And it must feel like I feel when my Powerball ticket doesn't fall.
And that's the thing too. You want to make sure that, and I'm going to be careful what I say here, but when you talk about the taxes and things like that, there are ways to drastically reduce them if you structure it correctly. And so that's something to keep in mind, because like you said, now you're talking about you're getting 10% of what you thought you were going to get. I mean, and you make all these plans, but all of that you really do want to kind of consider before your name is called. So that was good information. JB, what did you have from your side?
All right, Spence. So let's say you have a client that's projected to go late, like say 6th, 7th round, and it doesn't go well. He doesn't get the call, and will you ever suggest that he would turn down, let's say, getting picked at one of the last picks of the draft to be an undrafted free agent and to sign with a team that he wants to sign to?
A simple answer, no, because the numbers and the data say the higher probability you have of making a roster is if you get drafted. Like first through third round is pretty much guaranteed to make the active roster when the season starts, right? And then you start getting 4, 5, and 6, you probably got a 50% chance. 6 to 7, you probably somewhere between the 25 to 50% chance. And drafted free agents are like less than 25%. So I would not be acting in a fiduciary responsibility advising you not to get drafted, because the data says year over year, even if you're a 6 or 7 round, you have a higher probability of sticking to the team than an undrafted. Here's why. So undrafted guy, I think 6th round, you're probably talking about $100,000. You're still getting $100,000 signing bonus. 7th round, you're still somewhere between $50,000 to $100,000. Now it's taxed at 40%, but you're still getting some type of money in your pocket, right? Even if you don't make the team, that signing bonus, that $100,000 is yours. So there's a financial incentive and then a probability, you have a strong probability of actually making the roster.
Wow. Well, y'all heard it. I mean, if anyone in the chat or any viewers were wondering that, there's your answer. And that's and it's something worth considering, especially for the guys who don't have a clear idea of where they may end up. But now I wanted to shift gears a little bit, because I know that we kind of touched on NIL and just kind of like the impacts, but I wanted to ask you, and I know that you may not be able to go into specifics with this particular player, but just in and of itself. So you look at what just happened with Tennessee, and then with their former quarterback, Nico, I'm curious, as far as the potential ripple effects that it could have with other schools, so not even just Tennessee, do you feel like this quote unquote holdout that we're seeing now with college football players, do you feel like this is going to have more of a negative, I guess, impact with the NFL teams that may be looking at them, let's say next year, for example?
Yes, I do. We kind of chatted about this a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm in the middle on this. I actually posted this. Nick Saban's close to being a billionaire now, right, as a coach. I do believe that players are a conduit and are a vessel to fund football programs and the states and institutions we love, right? So I believe players should be compensated as well as the coaches. However, all of us who work real jobs, even if we don't sign a quote unquote written contract, we have like an agreement in place. I show up, I work a 9 to 5, I get a paycheck. If I don't show up, I don't get paid. So I do believe the Nico decision is going to impact the sport. Kirk Herbstreit, which I talked about, was on Pat McAfee last week and said, we need somebody to step up, whether it's the NCAA, whether it's the conferences, the SEC or Big Ten, to be a governing body, because we don't have rules in place. We don't have structure in place. You can't just pay a collegiate athlete $4 million to come in and play at my university, and then all of a sudden you don't like per se your playing time, or you're unhappy with the coach, or I feel like my market value is higher next year. Not to mention, and I'm a very direct person, you didn't perform well in the playoffs against Ohio State last year. So what are you basing your market value? So you're going to leave because we're paying you $2 million. Now you're asking for $4 million. You don't even have a grasp on market value. So the way we do business, and I'm going to pivot back to the NFL, it's collectively bargained. The players are a group of a governing body of players, are a union. And then you have the NFL teams and us as agents. We sit down and have, here again, I just pulled this rule book up that says collectively bargained. Say, here's the rules on compensation and play. So that way you have structure, you have governance, you have rules. Everybody's on the same playing field. So a lot of teams, the schools I talk to, are definitely getting frustrated, because here's the thing: if I'm a big investor or booster and I'm stroking a check and a kid is bouncing around every year or two, what is my ROI? At some point, I'm not going to have anything in my piggy bank for the collective. So to even out the playing field, there is going to be a collective bargaining agreement between collegiate players and universities at some juncture. This is definitely a paradigm shift. It's definitely coming. I don't foresee it happening in the 2025 season, because we start talking about lawyers and red tape. But definitely I see it coming in 2026. And sorry to be so long-winded, but this is something like big that's really pertinent right now in the industry.
Yeah. Like you said, we were talking about that earlier. And I think, I know that we align when it comes to that because it's really, you would think that there were attorneys involved to begin with. And so the fact that it's playing out the way it is, it just makes me think that maybe, maybe some of the guys' parents, maybe, they heard certain numbers. They're like, yeah, that'll work out. We can kind of do what we want next year. But if it's contractually binding, you can't just do whatever you want to do. And so, I like you said, if that means putting Coach Saban over, I don't know if he would want to govern it. But he talked about this 2 years ago, almost to the date, and so it's definitely a mess. But and then like Justin just mentioned, Arkansas is suing Nico's brother for breach of contract. So there you go. So now you have which is weird because you have these individual collectives that are essentially LLCs or maybe typically LLCs, and they get to do what they want to do. But then the school can turn around and sue the player. No, if I was Nico's brother. No, we coming into a room because you ain't suing nothing. Like, you know what I'm
saying? Like, the NIL collective that's suing them. There's 200,000 back from.
Justin,
Mr. Wild West, like it just needs to. Coach Saban actually there has to be an even playing field. And then I call him Mr. Sanders, a close friend of mine or a prime. He's actually asked for like a salary cap, so it's an even playing field. Everybody's playing by the same rules. And then teaching players accountability because us regular people who work, we can't just jump up and choose when we're not happy, to leave our job. We can. Obviously, there's risk associated with that. But when you sign your name on the line, there's something called accountability. And when you get to the NFL, here again, if you don't like your coach, because he doesn't like when you chew your bubble gum, so what? Go sit in the bench or they're going to cut your ass. That's just how the National Football League is.
Yeah, definitely. Justin, you had something?
Spencer, I think I've asked you this question before, but as our network has grown, we have more eyeballs on each of our shows, especially this one. This show has made tremendous growth. So I want to ask it again with a few little modifications. I'm sure you deal with this on your level in terms of the NFL and getting players to the NFL, and that's family interference. We just talked about it, or parent interference. Not only in the NFL negotiating contracts, but now with NIL. You see the trouble is caused with Nico and his family. But you also have these parents and family members telling players, hey, you need to sit out this game, or hey, you need to take this play off or this series off, or avoid contact here or avoid contact there. And the players don't really understand that that's actually hurting them rather than helping them down the road. So my question is, knowing all that, having said all that, how do you get your voice as a professional, the expert, to be louder than those who are misadvising them that are closest to them?
Well, it's a convoluted answer. Unfortunately, it's not a one-size-fits-all model. Ultimately, it comes down to, do you have trust and relationship with the player and the family? That's number one, because obviously that goes a long way trying to advise and lead someone in the right direction to be successful. But number two, data. Nowadays, I'm really talking about money is what gets everybody's attention. So Cam Ward tomorrow night, to go back to the draft, he's pretty much projected to be the number one pick. So Cam, he probably could have sat out. Just an example of, I think they played in the Pop-Tart Bowl or something like that. He could have sat out because he's had 3 good years of film. His stats are, projected pretty high to be a top round pick. He's graded out high, so for him, somebody like him, sitting down and looking at the data saying, Cam, based on the data, you're not going to hurt your market or draft value at all. And these are the risk versus the reward of you playing. So I'm leading with data, like fact-based, right? And ultimately tying it to a number. So Cam, you realize right now you slide it somewhere between 1 and 5 before we go to the combine. This is just based off the scouts and all the data. And for the family, when I put this number up, 42 million to about 35 million is what you're guaranteed right now if you don't do anything between your last game and the draft. So usually data, which I correlate to dollars, usually helps ground families, because the one thing I will say for professionals in this business, not just agents per se, but you have sports marketers and different professionals, we have access to inside information and intel that families don't, because a lot of families are very emotional. Hey, my son's not playing, or we're not. It was a play I just heard. Nico, as a matter of fact, he didn't like the scheme, but can you actually quantify that scheme is really hurting him, right? What is the where are you getting your information at? You're just making emotional decisions. And also they put him in, to me, a worse situation, because I think his new NIL deal is $2 million. And then once you break it down, he's going to net maybe like 1.4.
Mm-hmm.
So he's making less money. But I would question, I was told, and I'm very direct and authentic, his dad is kind of functioning as his manager. How did you quantify, okay, Tennessee gave him $2 million, but now you're asking for $4 million. And then you look at how he played in the playoffs, and then throughout the season, he was up and down. So you're not necessarily, to me, looking at quantifiable data in the tape. These are emotional decisions, I think, I feel. And when you sit down with NFL teams and collectives, it's really based off of facts. So for me, now the time we live in now is like you have to show people with money and data outside of relationships. But the last thing I'll say, and I'll kind of close on this topic, it's harder to be an advisor and agent now relationships, because you can't get in the door without a deal or some type of financing. It's changed the game, it's changed it. And we see it all over the place with players leaving all the time now.
Yeah. I don't think it's going back, but no, this was really good. So then, is there anything else that, like, let's say if we have any guys watching right now whose name is going to be called in the next couple of days, anything that you would want to say to them?
Don't be so concerned on where you go. It's where you start and where you get to where you're going. That's the main thing. Because a lot of those top 5, 10 guys, they know where they're going. But some guys, there's angst because I don't know my new city, my new team. It's when you get there is when you show your worth. We're working towards a second contract. Yeah, it would have been great. You would have got the 40, 35 million guaranteed, but 5, 10 million guaranteed, and you're going to bust your tail, to get that second contract, create generational worth. So enjoy this moment. You've worked your whole life for it. Be where your feet is at. As Jalen Hurts says all the time, keep the main thing the main thing. And once you get to your new team, that's where you show your worth and go get your second contract.
All right. Any final questions? I think because I don't want to hold you too long, Spence. So I'm good on my side. All right. Any social media that you want to share? Anything in specific that you want to share with the viewers?
Actually, there was a question. I think this is Kanafi. I was not sure. He just said, do I feel the NIL will hurt the NFL in the long term? Actually, I feel like it could benefit the NFL, because what it does is flush out players. I'm very candid. Somebody like a Carson Beck is playing 5 years, and to me, the longer he plays, you get more tape on him and get to kind of see his value. So you get guys go back to college and stay longer. So I get more of a tested product and decide their value. So from an NFL perspective, I think it's going to help. But the benefit also, if they stay in school, is if they do stay longer, maybe they are better and I have more tape. So I just didn't want to respond to that. But just to wrap, you can find me on social media. I'm Agent SC3 on Instagram, and then I'm with Agency One Sports Group in South Florida. And then I'm very open. If people have questions or want to learn about the business, I'm big on empowering folks and educating. If there's anything I can ever do to help, feel free to reach out.
Right. Looks like there were a few other questions from the audience, but I don't know how you are on time.
No,
if you
fine.
need to.
Let's do
it. All right. Let's see what else we got. All right. JM12 Green. After your career is done, does the NFL provide health care? And if so, how long?
Yes. I think I'm trying to remember. It's for, I want to say it's a couple years after your career. After that, no. It's unfortunate. Now, here you do have a pension though, but your pension you don't get until you're 55. And those pensions are in the seven and eight figures, but you get benefits for a couple years after your career, and that's pretty much it. And that's the sad part. And that goes back to putting your money up and because
that's with the assumption that you're doing the right thing with the money.
That's the other thing I talked about last year, and this is the one thing I want people to know. The average athlete plays in the NFL 3 years, and then 3 years after the career is over, 85% of them are broke and or divorced. Guy makes $10 million when he's 22. He's out of the league when he's 25. That $10 million after taxes and agent fees is probably about $5-6 million. So hopefully he didn't spend all that money. You got $5-6 million to last you another 50, 60 years of life, which the numbers say they don't. So average guy plays 3 years. 3 years after their career's over, 85% of them, and I don't wish this on anybody, but these are the numbers. They're broke and or divorced, and then they have to go back to school or get into the job market. But the narrative, and I'll say the culture is I got to get to the bag into the league, but you're only in the league to the bag for 3 years.
Exactly. What other questions? Joe Edwards, Spencer, how does the agent go about getting their money?
Great question. So going back, so this is the beauty which college can take from pro sport. It's collectively bargained. There's a rule book, and agents can get a small percentage of basically the total compensation. If you go back to how we started, if you add up the base contract, the signing bonus, and incentives, on an annual basis, we get a small percentage. It's nothing significant, but you get a small percentage. And what's interesting about that is it's how payers play us. It's negotiated. They can pay us like every game. They can pay us kind of like maybe a couple times a year. Or they can pay us at the end of the season. I usually try to do it on a quarterly basis because after you wait till the season's over, a lot of them players don't have any money.
You like, run me my check. Run me my check. I don't want to hear no excuses.
And it's unfortunate. I'm not going to say me, but there are times where you have to chase players, not physically, but you have to file grievances, and because you're dealing with young men who have, moms, baby mamas, living the lifestyle, side pieces, buying Chanel bags, and paying my agent after I've already signed my contract. And what are you doing now? So that's a part of the business.
Send them to collections.
I know. Hey, or have it automatically debited out of their account. Look, if it goes under, I mean,
that's a violation. I can't have access. So there's so many rules. Yeah.
Oh wow. But at least it's more structured.
That's why it's good to have a lot of clients.
Yeah, but it's I use it in real world terms, and I'm sure my lady's watching, so I'm not talking about my situation. But the agent game is like dating women. You can have a lot of clients, but it's a lot of maintenance. And you're trying to keep everybody happy.
Yeah, you mentioned those Chanel bags. I mean,
Yeah. Anthony Edwards is a good use case. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. They got to learn at some point, Spence. I mean, I don't get how many guys have to go through the same thing for them to figure it out.
Well, it's a, here again, if any of us is 20, 23, 25 years old, just talk about Anthony Edwards and give us $200 million. Wow. I knew I would have lost my mind.
I feel you. Yeah. Okay, shout out to Toughest Nails. Does universities or pro teams receive any money from sports gambling? If not, why? They are the product being wagered on.
Universities don't, but the NFL does. Because there's still this collegiate student athlete. I would say it's coming in the future. The NFL does, but not collegiate. No, not yet. There's so many loopholes right now, but the student athlete thing, not yet. And then I'll throw you a curveball is if universities are getting paid, obviously someone like Alabama or Georgia, Texas is probably going to bring in more revenue. How do you balance it out for some of the smaller conferences? So then you build in a competitive advantage with some of these other schools that maybe not be able to compete.
Gotcha. Did you have some, JV, like it's at the tip of your tongue?
Now I was gonna say, how does the NFL? Do you know how that works? How does the NFL get paid off of that?
Basically, it's their intellectual property you're betting on. Like any Shield logo team is governed by the NFLPA and NFL. You can't put my logo, show my games, my players, my stats, my data without my sign off. Run me my check.
Exactly.
That's the whole value of intellectual property in any business. But NFL, even with University of Alabama, I can't, put the actual Bama script logo and profit off of it. Somebody from that compliance department is going to come see me.
Exactly. That was something that I had to discuss with clients with my company. So then one thing, because we're talking about Alabama, right? And of course, always going to be biased. Roll Tide over here. But I want to know, so when so if I remember correctly, DJ Dell, that was one of your former clients, right? Okay. So then when we look at Alabama players, for example, when you have guys coming from a school like Alabama, do you feel like teams kind of have in the back of their minds, like they expect Alabama players to be more pro ready, if that makes sense?
Yes, I hate to say this, and obviously I have to be neutral in this professional platform. They did. When Saban was there, you were getting a battle-tested, tough, consistent product of Julio Jones, a Jonathan Allen, a Mark Ingram, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Year over year, consistent. Yes sir, no sir, no drama, work hard, play hard, battle-tested product. On teams, felt like it was worth the risk to roll the dice on an Alabama player or a Georgia player just because of they're coming from, a football factory. Which ultimately, when you invest in a young man, you want to lower the level of risk of them being a bust and not making it if I give this young man $40 million. So if I know if a kid is coming from Alabama or Georgia or Texas, it's a higher probability that they've been trained, they've been battle tested, they know how to deal with the fame off the field and be more successful when they get to the pro level.
Exactly. All right. Any final questions, JB, Dan? You're good.
More.
Oh, go ahead, JB.
Like personality, how they grade the players, like red flags. Some guys get drafted even with the red flags. They kind of look over things. How does the agent play a part in getting the guy drafted even when he has those red flags?
Putting mitigating plans in place. So let's just say a guy has a domestic, background or a substance abuse background. My job is to put support around that athlete and show a team we have a plan, framework for him to be successful. So just to be real short, let's say a guy gets drafted to Miami, which is a very tempting city, and he has a substance abuse issue. We're going to get him a place, in Fort Lauderdale, away from South Beach. He's going to have, and then when you get into like substance abuse, the NFL has protocols as well. But here's his rehabilitation program. Here's his schedule day to day. Here's how we're going to keep him busy. Mom is going to stay at the house, or dad is going to stay at the house. We have all these checkpoints. So here's a battle plan to mitigate a lot of the risk. Because here again, it goes, when I say risk, you about to get this young man $30 million. So how are we going to be sure we get an RI? This guy has his butt on the field and he's not in trouble. Is developing mitigating tangible plans, because teams don't care about I think. It's can we get tactical strategic plans? If a guy needs help, we need to get him help. And then we need to make sure his time is structured. He knows what he's doing from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. at night. Because here's the difference with NFL. You don't have a program like in Alabama. You don't have somebody wake you up, make sure you go to class. You don't go to meal together. You have to wake up. You have to drive. You have to show up and train and eat and do all that stuff. And then once you're done, most NFL teams are done about 5 o'clock on a Tuesday. How are you feeling in their free time? So I know if a guy has challenges, it's making sure I can account for all his time, having support, and mitigating plans and people around him. And that helps at times mitigate it. But if a guy has a background issues, he damn sure better be a stud.
You got that right. That was a really good question. And then really quickly, shout out to our other sponsor, whitwillsports.com. We have to show them love. They show us love every single week. So shout out to them. We tell you that your game day is not the same without a title towel. Visit whitwillsports.com and use standard for the promo code to receive an exclusive discount. Now, really quickly, because I know that we're almost at time, but Dan, final question from you. Anything else?
Yes. Give us your expectations of Alabama players in the draft, this upcoming draft tomorrow.
I think Booker is going to go top 10 to 15. And then I think the next guy off the board is Milroe. So I think Bama will have 2 guys, just to be short, that'll go, in the top 60 picks. And I'm calling, you heard it here first. I can see the Miami Dolphins taking Jalen Hurts as a backup to Tua with his concussion issues. Tua is not going to be intimidated to train. We saw 5, and then you have a future quarterback if Tua decides to hang it up with concussion protocols. But I say 2 guys going in the first 60 picks: T-Book and Jalen Milroe. Hopefully, the Miami Dolphins.
Okay. Not Jahad Campbell.
I'd like to see Jahad Campbell.
Yeah, Jahad. So 3.
Yeah, at least.
I appreciate you keeping me balanced there.
At least
Jahad is definitely going to top 15. But he did have a shoulder injury, so I do know there's some medical questions. But I don't think he's going to get out the top 15.
Okay.
I've been hearing Jalen Milroe projected for the second round, possibly.
Yeah. That's what I said, top 60.
Yeah, second round. I know people were saying first round for a while, but yeah.
It can happen due to the he plays a premium position. And, you know, we saw it last year with a lot of teams reaching for quarterbacks, so that could very well happen again this year.
Yeah, after Jackson Dart from Ole Miss, he's the next guy off the board. So, I mean, there's a chance, though, to your point, it's a premium position. So once Dart comes off the board, somebody may sneak back into the first round and take him just because there's not a lot of those guys walking around.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I was hearing Spencer. They were talking about the first round picks. You have the 5th year option on those first round picks, and they were talking about guys jumping back in the back half of the first round to draft a Jalen Milroe. So you have the 5th year option on him. Is that correct?
True. The Steelers are a potential landing spot if Shedeur doesn't slide. That is correct. Because the 5th year option allows you to pay a guy a nice salary, but I don't have to redo his contract. What JB is getting at. It gives me more time to kind of fill him out to see if he can really perform.
Yeah. Well, we're excited. I mean, what you got, Justin?
To piggyback off of what Dan asked, or in terms of Alabama guys, do you see any of the Bama guys who are projected to go in the later rounds maybe surprising folks and rising up the boards and getting taken a lot sooner than expected?
Malachi Moore, he's Captain America. Simple. He's a Saban player. He played in Saban for 4 years. So we go back to the question of there's a brand, an expectation with Bama players. He played for Saban. He's tough. He's smart. He's squeaky clean. You know, he's a great athlete. He's a leader. Obviously he's had a couple on-field issues, but he's never been in trouble. He comes from a good family. He's just a good culture fit and a football player that came from the Nick Saban Alabama factory. So I think he's probably a good value pick when you start to get between like rounds 3 and 4. Kind of like I can't think of the kid in Detroit that he played with his freshman year. It reminds me
Brian
of
Branch.
Branch.
Yeah. I can see him going. He's Captain America. Just a good guy on your team.
What about I know we need to let you go, but what about Key-Rob? Because he was that guy playing Wolf coming off the edge for Alabama, and he got hurt when we played LSU, but he was a critical piece, and you would think that someone like him, I know that it could be somewhat saturated in the draft with that position, but you would think someone like him would almost be that surprise factor where he could possibly go sooner than most people think. Are you familiar with him?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So Key-Rob. So here's the challenge with him. The athleticism is there, but the data in the film is not there. And then he has injuries. So to me, this is the hard part of business because I want all these guys to get drafted. But the data, the stats are not really there, and the production's not there. So to me, he's a late round guy to PFA. But somebody, to your point, may fall in love and say, I see the athleticism, I see the talent. It'll really come down to what is his medical grade like. And that impacts a lot of guys.
Well, to any teams watching, I'll vouch for him. I mean, that's a dog. And, unfortunately, we had all those coaching changes last year. And, I think some of that really impacted the guys, as far as just you got Kane Womack out there, couldn't figure things out until late, and not trying to make it easy. But I had to wait till his dad came out on the field. So I'm not trying to make excuses, but when you have guys like that, those are those hidden gems that you don't want to miss out on. You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's just my take. Anywho, all right. Well, this has been fun. We have about 10 to 12 minutes, and we'll probably wrap up on our side with the final minutes. But anything else? I mean, I know that are you having to travel to be with any of your guys, or you're just going to kind of chill and watch?
No, I'm not traveling to be with any guys this year. Just based on the story I told Older, I'm not putting myself in that microscope.
That would be so.
You see it.
Just have a group chat going.
Seriously, I want everybody to enjoy the draft. I mean, it's exciting for fans, but I just want folks to remember out in on this. These are young men. Their families have worked their butt off their whole life. A lot of guys trying to figure out where they're going to live at, and maybe break some generational curses and bring in generational wealth. So there's a lot of pressure on guys. So enjoy it. It's a good time. It's exciting, and I appreciate y'all having me again. I always enjoy this. It's a pleasure to be on this platform.
Yeah, we always appreciate it. Like you said, your Instagram, Agent SC3. Is it the number 3 or the Roman numerals?
Number 3.
Number 3. Okay, y'all go follow him. Go follow. All right. Well, we really appreciate it. And we definitely want to have you back on at some point. We'll plan something out, but we really appreciate your time and just the insight. And I can tell that the viewers appreciate it again this year. So thank you so much. And you be safe out there. And look, roll Tide, because that ain't no other way. I'm just saying.
Hey, what I can say is burgundy is my favorite color. I'll leave it at that.
but in specific, crimson. In specific, just so that they don't get it twisted with like Arkansas or anybody like that. I'm just saying.
Burgundy is MSU.
Or is that Texas A&M?
I'm trying not to tick anybody off. So.
I feel you because you got a job. All right. Well, we really appreciate it, and we'll have to have you back on soon.
All right, thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Yeah, we like to you come back next week.
Yeah, we'll see if he's free at least to do like some type of reaction show. I'll check with him on that. But no, this was good. I see y'all all in the chat. Y'all drop y'all's takes on that. Like, how do you feel as far as where the different guys are going to go? I mean, you have Tim Smith, Robbie Oot, CJ Dupree. You got all these guys. One thing that shocked me, and I want to get y'all's takes. I saw a mock draft and it had Malachi Moore. I don't know if it was like 4th or 5th round or something like that. And I was like, what?
All that far.
I don't see how that would be possible.
I think they're looking at maybe the injury history too. I know, but like he mentioned, you know, he's smart, he's a leader, he's one of the last of the Saban, played 4 years with Saban, so he has.
Yeah, those top NFL teams, they're gonna pick him up. That's why the Ravens, the Eagles, you know, the Texans are up and coming. Teams like that, you know, they're not gonna let them fall that far.
I know I don't see no Tennessee fans in the chat running their mouth. Y'all need to worry about what y'all have going on over there. The last thing y'all need to do is be in our chat running your mouth. I mean, figure out what you're gonna do with your quarterback situation, sir. So, you know.
I mean, Tennessee, come on.
Oh, well, this is a different. I saw somebody else. Let's see more of the conversation. I mean, yeah, you're in our chat. You watching us. We ain't watching you. Whoever you support, y'all watching us. Keep that in mind. So when them little raggedy Michigan fans come our way, like they usually do, Auburn and everybody else, keep in mind that y'all are watching us. We ain't watching y'all. Keep that in mind. Alabama until who?
We're irrelevant in college football. We got the two greatest coaches of all.
Bagman.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I mean. But think about it. If you have to buy your players, what does that really say about you? Like, that's nothing to be proud of. I wouldn't be proud of that. I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, if that's how low y'all are, then stay over there with that. We don't want none of that over here. Yeah, nah. We got the trolls. Like, at the end of the day, y'all are watching Alabama. You watching Alabama show. Y'all ain't got no show because y'all have nothing to talk about. So just keep that in mind as we watch our guys come off that draft board, and yet you'll still be there talking with your popcorn, watching Alabama players. I mean, we just the standard. Like,
he brought up Jamarcus Russell in an Alabama player conversation.
Right.
A Raider. Come on. You know, that says it all, Raider.
And then y'all, and then look, Raider, and then want to brag about, oh, well, we're spending money to buy players. That's nothing to be. If anything, you need to be in the back quiet. So you don't have people coming to your school, the Michigans and Ohio State. Y'all don't have people coming to your school because they just want to be a part of your so-called standard. You have no standard. The standard is at Alabama. I mean, I don't know. Tennessee, like, y'all pipe down. SEC plan. I mean, they all. Hey,
you know, Mark Ingram had a long career in the NFL.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's just it's not even delusion anymore. It's just stupidity at this point. It's stupidity, and they want to get a reaction. But at the end of the day, it's Alabama. We rolling all day, every day on y'all. You know what? Like, don't come over here with it. Y'all ain't got nothing to talk about. Yeah, and as you naming Trent and Mark and Eddie, name the rest of them. Let's name Calvin and Amari. Everybody else. I mean, like we kick them out. We kick them out every single year. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, when y'all look, how about this? When y'all's little raggedy schools have a show that's actually with content worth talking about and listening about, that's when you can drop something in our chat. Right now, you need to be in the back learning, right? This is the standard. I mean, y'all watching us. We're not watching y'all. Y'all ain't got nothing to talk about. Like what? Yeah, you're right. Kennedy, Josh Jacobs. I mean, the list goes on.
Dwayne, Bo, he's bringing up LSU players that Nick Saban coached.
You're just going to ignore the fact that he coached Julio Jones?
You see, he didn't slide that name in there.
Yeah, you want to mention the players that can be legitimately Hall of Fame players, and a lot of these guys
run circles around you.
A lot of these guys aren't eligible, and they're still playing. So, what are you supposed to do at halftime? Get inducted?
Nah, they whack. The fact that you could be at somebody's church service tonight, and the fact that you in here in our chat, just make sure you watching that draft tonight and you cheer on our players as their names get called, because clearly your school ain't got none that's gonna be called tomorrow. So just make sure you watching Alabama like you're doing now. Make sure you subscribe, sir.
Clearly nobody is swiping right on his Tinder profile, so that's why he's here.
Just whack. Just whack, just like that profile picture. Just whack. Talking about some Raiders. Like, what you mean? What? It's whack. The main ones in there talking ain't got nothing to talk about. Ain't got a leg to stand on. When was the last time Alabama was in the playoffs? Oh, wait. Excuse me, sir. Like, what? All right, y'all. We ain't got that many more minutes left.
In 2 years, he wouldn't know that, though.
They got
when the last time the Raiders been? It's been since the Raiders.
Coming in here talking about what? You lame, just like that pro.
Time Tennessee won a national championship.
I know, oh, raggedy Tennessee. Y'all sitting up there, quarterback that want to be. bless their heart, Lord. Just bless their heart. They're in such delusion that all they can do is come to an Alabama show and run their mouth. We sitting here talking about the draft. We're talking about excellence at the University of Alabama because that's what we're about. And here you are learning from the standard. I mean, you got to learn from the big brother. You ain't got a seat at the table. So you got to come here and learn as much as you can. You ain't going to do nothing with what you learn. Y'all better call it Florida State as well, because I heard that their players are running their mouth. Call them up. Let them know first game of the season. We coming down there. And we just doing what we do best. I mean, it's all W's because we going to Miami for that natty. 2026, I told y'all, go ahead and book y'all's hotels. Go ahead and get look, it's on. That's all I'm saying. Name 3. Sir, while you're doing all that talking, drop in the chat. What school is he a fan of?
What does that have to do with anything? I can name them Barry Switzer. You got Pete Carroll and then Jimmy Johnson.
Well, why does that matter?
What does it have to do with the price of eggs? That's very high right now.
I mean, he just keep moving the goalpost.
I know he has nothing to talk about. See, what he realized is that as he set their name in Trent and Mark and whoever else he was naming, he realized, okay, wait, yeah, I just put my foot in my mouth, sir. Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs, like you said, Julio, Amari Cooper. Like, let's not get started. Let's not get started, sir. Like,
how is Mark Ingram's career considered bad? Why are you insulting that man? Is he a Hall of Fame running back? No, but he had a good, long NFL career. Why are you trying to insult that man? I don't know.
Yeah. No, whatever. Yeah, it just sounds like jealousy at the end of the day. I mean, people always hate what they can't be and what they can't imitate. I mean, it just is what it is. They want to be Alabama. They got to buy players to even try to have a conversation or sit at the table. Go sit at the kiddie table with your Lunchable, because you could never. Like, this is Alabama.
Oh, okay. So
we're the standard.
I'm thinking this dude's a Cowboys fan, which explains a lot. Nah, him and that. What does a NFL coach's career have to do with a college football coach's career? They're two different things. It doesn't take away from either success. It doesn't add to either success.
I think he came up with these questions in his mom's basement.
I think he went to ChatGPT. That's what I think. He done went to ChatGPT asking questions because he ain't got nothing else to talk about. And he has yet to mention his school, whatever college. He don't want to throw that out there because you got one time to say anything about a South Carolina, anybody else that's not Alabama. Huh?
Nobody cares.
That's what it boils down to. He knows they're a non-factor. That's why he's here. Like, why did Saban leave LSU? Why did your mom leave LSU? I mean, like, don't get us started. Y'all try to get us started.
Why did Saban leave LSU?
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I say he's getting these questions from ChatGPT. ChatGPT, y'all stay off that unless you know how to use it. Stay off of that because that's what that sounds like.
What's the next out of left field question he's going to ask? If you were on a desert island and you were starving and you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself? What the hell?
I know. It's just, yeah. And I just want to know, since you're in the chat live and direct, drop in the chat your school. What's your alma mater? Because you probably didn't go to any of these Power 5 schools for one, but for two, just go ahead and drop in the chat which school you graduated from. Like, why you're not, I'm waiting. I mean, then we can have a back and forth. But what I'm saying right now, I'm just like, sir, you hate us because you ain't us. That's just what it boils down to. I mean,
and when you name your school, don't name the school you chose in legacy mode on NCAA football.
Yeah, see, Kenneth, he just
exactly dynasty mode.
Huh?
I said when you name your school, don't name the school you chose to be in dynasty mode in NCAA football on PlayStation.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's avoiding the question, C'Chi.
I see. That's what Kenneth said too. He won't answer because he's ashamed. I mean, they should be ashamed. You ain't Alabama, you should be ashamed. You coming up in our chat like your school that you graduated from, if you did graduate from somewhere, how many guys y'all got that's projected to go in the draft? Just in any round.
Don't post this stuff on the Auburn or Tennessee board. Maybe people will agree with you.
Tennessee fan in here. I mean,
does the UFL draft count?
Well, I won't say nothing about that. Just,
Oh, my bad.
I don't want to hurt any feelings. Oh, he said I came in here for a classic rant. I mean, I'm just saying, like, at least if you're going to run your mouth, you have to be on the same caliber. And that's what a lot of these delusional people don't understand. You're not in Alabama. You're not on the same. You're not at the table. You don't have a seat at the table. And that's why you can't even say what school you like. Y'all just, it's just completely whack. But then you got this lame profile picture of whatever with this lame screen name. You can't say, so you had to put Raider in your screen name because you don't want to say which raggedy. So you probably went to Middle Tennessee or some random school that has nothing to do with Alabama. And he's mad. He's still mad because Alabama is still the standard. Like, come on, Saban built a championship. Why he's on Saban so hard though? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think it might be Danny Cannell.
It probably is. Dan Cannell's a very sad individual. He's right up there with Booger.
Yeah, let's not get started with Booger. It's a big nasty looking stuff. No, this is fun. I enjoy the trolls. I mean, at the end of the day, it's Alabama. Y'all in our chat. Y'all don't have a chat. You ain't got no need to have one. I mean, I'm just saying, like, it's just, I don't know, Dan. Maybe they came to talk to you. I don't know.
I got time.
Exactly. Well, y'all be sure to tune into the draft. We're gonna be cheering Alabama on all the way, just like these little lame trolls in here. Clearly, they came. I mean, y'all came to watch us talk about our guys going to the draft, so I'm sure you're gonna be cheering us on too. At the end of the day, it's Roll Tide. Tide's still rolling. We ain't got to buy players. Players come to Alabama because we're the standard. They know what it is. Like I always say, anytime I travel internationally and if I have on the Alabama shirt, all I hear is Roll Tide. People know what time it is. I don't care if I'm in France, wherever I'm at, it's Roll Tide roll. So y'all better know, you look, whatever that Raider person, sir, have a seat. Get off of ChatGPT. Getting your little prompts, your little raggedy questions, because it means nothing. Like it literally means nothing. Completely irrelevant. Completely. All right, I'm done with my rant. That's all the attention I'm gonna give your little raggedy stuff. You see, the Tennessee ones got quiet because they know what time it is. Y'all need to focus on what you're gonna do about your quarterback situation and go ahead and run Nico that check too while y'all talking. Go ahead and run Nico that check while y'all talking. Worry about that. Don't worry about us. Anyway, all right. Well, do y'all have any other Have a seat, Tennessee, because even when we have players transfer, we still get good ones coming in because it's Alabama. Y'all can't say the same. We keep them lined up. Bro. Like just run Nico that check, sir. Run Nico that check. Get him that $4 million since 10. Cause see, it wasn't a problem when Nico was still in high school and y'all were sitting up there flying out to California to go see him, right? Or flying him to see y'all school. I mean, that wasn't a problem, right? So run him that check. Don't worry about Alabama. Run him that check. And then let's just call it a day. I'm just saying. Y'all worry about the wrong thing. Hey, JB, you got Janet saying what you always saying. Belt
Hey,
to, I
shout out to
mean,
Janet. Belt to ass. That's what I'm talking about. I
yeah,
can't wait.
yeah.
Count down the days.
That's right.
Exactly. Have we had any guys hit the portal?
Not yet.
Walk-ons.
Yeah, just walk on.
But have we had? No, I just want to. Oh, yes or no? No. Absolutely not. Exactly. So you sitting up here, Tennessee, talking about transfers, sir. Worry about the quantity of transfers that y'all have in that portal, like, because y'all in trouble. I'm just saying, y'all in trouble. Like I said, run Nico that check, and let's just call it a day. Y'all couldn't keep him if you wanted to. So, anywho, any other shows that y'all have? I see Dan is over there eating.
That's it. I'm trying to chew discreetly.
Yeah, no, you good. Any other shows, JB? Any other shows that you want to mention or any social media?
Yeah, Talking Bama Sunday night, Talking Bama. We will be back this Sunday. Join me, JT, Stephen M. Smith, and Herb, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on the Bama Standard Network. Also, Crimson Dynasty every Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, and Sports Talking with JB. See it on the hat right there. Just go subscribe to the YouTube channel, Sports Talking with JB.
All right. And that was a good. I think it was the ASU flag football that y'all had on last week.
Yes.
Yeah. That was good.
Yes.
That was good. Be sure to check that out. Check out his YouTube channel. Look, bro, we don't care what y'all watch. Y'all watching us now, sir. And make sure you check in next Wednesday, same time, same place. All we talking about over here is Alabama. Just like you here tonight, make sure you here next week. Have your dinner ready. I mean, I'm just saying, like, pop it in the microwave, whatever you need to do.
I bet he got that notification bell, man.
Yeah, they got the notification on.
Exactly.
Every show they come on, they'll be watching.
CC, you notice that these trolls are coming out when Linda P hadn't been around.
Right.
Yeah, not a sec.
Don't make us call Linda P.
I think Chris Williams sent them.
Well, Chris Williams is actually showing up on other shows. He won't come in here.
So he sent his goons since he can't come.
Nah, them goons got sent. Like, don't play over here, sir. Nah, all right. Well, yeah, be sure to check out JB's YouTube channel. And then Dan, what you got?
Yes. Every Tuesday nights, you got the final whistle, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Right here every Wednesday night, this awesome cast, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Central. Thank y'all. Thank everyone in the chat. We shout out to Linda P who's not here. That's why we got a lot of tomfoolery going on in the chat.
Yeah, because she keep them in order. She keep them in order. Like, look, I mean, we appreciate the trolls at the end of the day. I mean, why wouldn't you watch some? Why would you not watch something about Alabama? That's the real question, know? But, they got to find a way to kind of justify in their little raggedy minds why they here, every Wednesday night. I mean, I got you. So, just make sure y'all come back. Like we said, next week, same time, same place, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Maybe we'll have a guest on, maybe we won't. But what we should start doing is bringing these trolls on. So make sure y'all have y'all little raggedy cameras on. Let's start doing that. Matter of fact, let's try that, because see, y'all have a lot to say in these comments with your little raggedy profile pictures, but then we bring you on, y'all get quiet. We asked Chris didn't we ask Chris to come on?
Yeah.
All right, and so ran like roaches. Exactly, Ephraim. They run like roaches. I mean, that's that's just what they do. I mean, they do the same thing on the field. They don't show up, just run their mouth outside. Yeah, I mean, it's sad. It's just really sad. I could never. Anyway, all right. Well, we're done with y'all. Shout out to Janet. We're done. And shout out to Erica. Shout out to everybody that's there, even the trolls. We appreciate the views. If you just tuned in, be sure to catch the replay, because we have some really good content with NFL agent Spencer Charles III. So be sure to check that out. All right. Well, be sure to check us out again next week. Potentially, we may have another guest on. We'll see. But be sure to tune in, and we will see y'all next week. Find me on X at official C'Chi without the apostrophe, and then find me on Instagram at beauty_of_intelligence. And all y'all trolls, slide up in my DMs if you want to. Man, let them know.
I would recommend it.
Let them know. Every time. Because you ain't doing it over here every single time. Yeah, shout out to Joe. Yeah. Thanks for having Spence. We really appreciate having him. Not looking any of that up. You don't have to. What you need to look up is who y'all next quarterback going to be. That's what I'm telling you, sir. You need to look up either that $4 million that y'all need to pay Nico. Y'all can't do that. I mean, you ain't saying nothing, bro. Like all right, just make sure that you on next week. That's all I'm gonna say. Just make sure you're on. We're gonna bring you on next week. Have your camera ready. I mean, just put a video to them words. All right. Well, we had a fun night with y'all. We'll catch you next week. And roll tide. Roll tide, roll.
Roll Tide.
Yeah.